From the first half of the game, our hero Amanda Ripley, who's Ellen Ripley's daughter, is searching for some medical supplies for her injured colleague. We've come across this really interesting character, this doctor, who's holed himself up in this room, and he's offering to help you out if you help him out. Okay. Now, one thing that I noticed immediately is the art style and the look of this is so familiar to me, being a fan of the first and the second movies immensely. Is that really evocative? Are you guys going for that? Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're deeply passionate about that first film, and one of the things that we really wanted to do was to really take you back to that original kind of Ridley Scott haunted house in space. You know, this kind of 1970s view of the future. You know, it's this kind of clunky, chunky, push-button technology with this really own kind of lo-fi sci-fi aesthetic that's completely unique. Yeah, it looks fantastic. So here we're being really cautious. You know, the player by this point in the game will know there's an alien on board the station that the game takes place on, and you know, this is a game which is very much about survival. It's not about killing. You know, it's a real game of cat and mouse. You're using your kind of instincts and the resources to try and survive.
That's something else, because what if the alien's just scared of you? And it's defending itself. Yeah, that's a different.
I love that John immediately has asked the bigger question. What's the alien's motivation?
Yeah, well, maybe you'll find out at the end of the game.
Now, this is a familiar tool, of course, from the movie franchise. Of course, can't forget about that. I can imagine that's an important tool for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the motion tracker. That really is your main weapon. That is the key to your survival. It's a kind of imperfect device. It's not this kind of super uber mini map. You know, it shows you some information, doesn't show you all information. And we're also kind of mean as well. So when you bring up the motion tracker, we also blur the background. We take information away from you. So we really want to make people think really carefully about every action in the game. And so kind of for every action or a possibility, there's some kind of risk or consequences associated with it. And that's the same for the motion tracker as well. And of course, it is a motion tracker. So one thing that people quite often get called out of is that obviously if the alien stops moving, the signal disappears. And so that's always something to keep at the back of your mind, because you could just stumble into this creature.
So basically, the alien she could be right next to you, but as long as they're standing still, you'd be none the wiser.
Yeah, so you can't rely on the motion tracker completely. You know, it gives you some information, but it's not everything. And so you really are, depending on your instincts, you know, you're looking at, you need to have a real good awareness of the world around you. You need to be looking at the environment, you know, keep aware of your local threats. You know, and listening as well. Audio is a massive component of any horror experience, and so, you know, listening out for what's in the world around you is equally important.
Now, what's going on here? Because
this is like sort of so here we're hacking our way into one of the offices. We're using this alongside the motion tracker. You have this hacking device, which is this really lo-fi piece of kit, which has got these huge pixels, and very
kind of like a little bit of a hacking mini game.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant.
And they become more challenging over the time, and you get to upgrade your hacking tool, and that will open up.
Unlocks the new.
Yeah, absolutely. It starts to unlock the world around you. I mean, the game is obviously kind of story-driven, but it's also player-driven as well, and the player can explore the world as they start to progress and unlock the world.
This is awesome. You must have had a lot of fun designing this kind of classic.
It's funny because in the 80s, this was the future.
Yeah.
Our future's a little bit different looking now in space. This is like retro, future, past. I don't know. It's amazing. The aesthetic is so dope.
Yeah. So one of the important things I think about Alien, and then something that we've tried to convey in the game, is technology isn't the answer, right? So this is obviously set in the future, but you know, it's not the answer. There's no sort of sense that there's some amazing weapon that's going to be the solution to your problem. You know, and so that is kind of conveyed, and there's that approach throughout the whole game.
But that's a kind of an interesting point, because obviously you will have a certain amount of the spaceship. Whoa!
Oh damn! Sean, you almost screamed in space, and no one can hear you scream in space.
I actually jumped back in my chair. I feel a little bit embarrassed.
Oh damn!
What?
So here the player's using the environment to their advantage. You know, they're kind of caught out in the open, but we allow the player to really intuitively find spaces to try and protect themselves. So here they've ducked under this gurney in a very intuitive way. It looks like the alien's moving off, so...
That's awesome.
That was really, really cool.
Yeah,
that was so rad.
I proper jumped there. That was. Oh, and here's,
so we got the signal on the motion tracker. Now, I suppose one of the kind of, the alien is the star of our show, and we realized early on that if it was kind of scripted, it wouldn't be scary because you'd know what was going to happen. So our alien is just using its senses to try and track you down. It's looking for you. It's listening for you. So it's really dynamic and reactive, and it means that every encounter is different. Every encounter is kind of like a live encounter. And so there, the players used a flare
to kind of attract the alien.
Yeah, so we allow the player a whole bunch of ways to approach any encounter, and there they've just chosen to try and distract the alien. Obviously, like I said, the alien is using its sight to track you down. So there, I think it's seen the flare, so it's gone over to investigate, and that's bought the player some time here to try and progress. Over the course of the game, the alien will kind of. I mean, you can't play with it. As in, if you kept using flares, it would start to realize it's being toyed with, and it would stop being interested in flares, and you have to change up and choose some different strategies.
So
and
basically, the alien is learning, the intelligence.
Yeah. So
oh man,
absolutely, it's adapting to your behaviour. And again, this is all kind of stems from the sort of supporting the idea of player choice, allowing the player to kind of confront.
I saw a guitar. Can you just sing a song to the alien? That doesn't work in space.
I love that you're again choosing for that path of kind of kumbaya, friendship.
I don't want to. Can't we just talk it out? It's an alien, man. It's the first time we've ever seen one.
Well, you can try that. You can take that approach.
But there's a reason that the alien scares the bejeebus out of me.
So here it's
so cool.
It's searching for the player, and it's a real game of cat and mouse. You can have. I mean, I think this is one of the interesting things for me is as game developers. We play this game all day, every day, and yet if I was playing this, my heart would be thumping right now because I can't predict, 100% what's going to occur, and so that means throughout the course of the game, it really keeps the tension and keeps the anticipation because you're never sure what happens around the next corner.
I think that's important to mention in that scene. If we hadn't have been, we're now watching somebody playing who knows I need to hide there. But if you just stumbled in there and just stood against the wall, that'd be the end of it. That'd be over for you.
If the alien saw you at that distance, it'd probably be death. Yeah, absolutely.
No.
Yeah.
But again, it's down to that moment-to-moment decision making. And I think we take a lot of our cues from the film, and I think one of the strengths and qualities of Ellen Ripley and the reason she survives is she's able to make the right choices under pressure. And I think that's what we're asking the player to do in Alien Isolation is, moment to moment, make the best choice possible under enormous pressure. So there's a huge amount of exploration in the game.
Oh dang.
And that
didn't go well for them.
That was unfortunate.
Yeah.
Somebody had a bad day. They the guitar.
Yeah. So exploring the world pays off. You start to find items and components that, if you get the right combination, you can put these things together to create tools and devices that will, if used at the right place at the right time, will again change the odds. So like the flare, we have this cool device called a noisemaker, which is this kind of odd-looking thing with 2 speakers and some circuitry. If you throw that into the world, it will start making a huge amount of noise and will attract the attention of anything around it. So again, the players trying to survive. They're using their motion tracker a lot. They're carving their way through the world. Making sure that the alien can't see them. So it hasn't gone away, it's still there. But it looks like we're...
This is very tense.
Yeah. So here's
There's a lot going on.
I feel like if I was playing this alone in the evening in the dark, I probably wouldn't be able to sleep afterwards.
Well, exactly. So the players deployed this noisemaker, and hopefully that will keep it busy. Let's see. Right, it's there, so let's keep moving. Oh, okay, and they've decided to run. So running in the game can be really cool. It can get you around the world really much faster, but it also makes a huge amount of noise.
Oh yeah, that was a bad idea.
Yeah,
that was a bad idea.
Oh no!
Oh! And that's the end of it.
So
yeah, I guess there's no fight in that.
Yeah, that was a little bit.
Yeah.
That was a mistake. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep.
I feel like running was a bad idea.
Bad idea. Bad choice.
I don't know who.
What else would you have done, Sean?
Well, you know what,
What
John,
would you have done?
I'm not taking a leaf out of your book and saying I would have played a song to the alien, but I think I would have just sat still for a while. I felt like we were pretty safe when we were under the gurney.
Yeah.
I would have found some biscuits,
I would have stayed there
space biscuits,
for a very
sat
long
under
time.
the gurney and just chilled it out for a while.
Yeah, that is one approach, but it would have found you
Eventually. Okay,
eventually.
So
then that doesn't work.
I retract my last decision to sit under the gurney, but I would move. I definitely wouldn't run because that really turned things sour
that was
quickly.
a bad idea.
Yeah.
So here we've looks like we've encountered some survivors. Now they're in the same position as you. They're really desperate to survive, and that makes them extremely unpredictable. They look like they're armed, so I think we need to be really cautious around them.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So there's a small inhabitants on the station, and like I said, they're desperate to survive, and so that means that sometimes they're a benefit to the player, and sometimes they can be extremely aggressive. Now it looks like. Okay, so it looks like the player's using another noisemaker here, and if the alien's around, that will... Okay, yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, man.
Now this is where I say, John, could we not have sang a song to that guy? Because that guy was human. He was human.
And
we could have made friends with him.
Okay, so we've kind of removed that.
Their blood is on our hands, basically.
So this is again, this is about player choice and allowing them to decide how they want to try and survive. So this is one option, but to be really clear, you can play the game without having to kill any humans at all.
Okay.
So that moment to moment, you might have to make desperate decisions.
And in that situation, you're basically talking. I could run this trial and error. So I could have gone up to them and said, hey, what happens when I have a conversation? He pulls a gun on me and says, that's not the answer to this.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it's not completely black and white. He might have just raised his gun and told you to back off, and if you backed off, then there would have been no confrontation. And
I love it.
Wouldn't it be dangerous for him to shoot a gun at you, though? I mean, they just don't care anymore.
Oh yeah, so I think that there's that. I think that's the problem. That they are so desperate to try and survive that they're capable of doing anything. At the time you're making all these kind of risk-reward judgments, if you think the alien isn't around, then maybe that's the sensible option.
There are bloody carcasses everywhere. I would be pretty scared.
So again, the player's using this peek function to get some extra information about the world around them. So by this point in the game, the player will have been introduced to the Season synthetics. Now these are kind of androids, but they're built by a different company, to Weyland-Yutani, so they're not the same as Ash in the first film.
Okay.
They're much more...
a little bit more like Bishop in the second?
Yeah.
No.
Their blood isn't milk. I remember that.
I love Bishop. I was a big fan of Bishop.
So these guys are much more basic. And so again, they can be really unpredictable. Sometimes they can be a real help to the player. But also, if provoked, they can be extremely aggressive.
It's so tense that while I'm watching it, I keep forgetting that I should be talking. I'm just sitting here just kind of holding my breath, thinking to myself, oh, what's happening? Where are you going?
I think you do have to kind of remind yourself to breathe occasionally. So these are kind of creepy guys.
Yeah,
whoa.
I mean, couldn't they have made it more friendly, kind of like packaging for these guys? It's like,
well, hindsight's a marvelous thing.
Oh, wow.
Okay, looks like the alien's been attracted here as well.
Which means nothing good.
Yeah, the stomping you hear.
Yeah.
You really get an eerie feeling of dread in a situation like this. I mean,
so we really wanted to make this kind of really immersive world, and one that really kind of sucks you in. And I think it's been really interesting, coming to Gamescom and putting the game in front of so many people and getting the game in people's hands and just seeing the response they have. It's a game that causes a real kind of physical response. You see people kind of crouching down, trying to make themselves physically small.
I believe
when the alien appears.
Now let's talk a little bit about that. Games here at Gamescom. What's next for you guys? How do people get involved? What can they be doing around Alien Isolation now?
Well, the game's coming out on the 7th of October.
7th of October.
Oh, that's so we're here.
That down.
That
guys.
is soon.
If you are there, this is something you need to put in your diary. What can the kids watching, guys watching, girls watching, parents watching? Where can they get hold of this?
So it's going to be on Xbox One, Xbox 360, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, and PC.
You've just listed everything that makes me happy.
Yeah, no, that was incredible.
That's absolutely awesome.
And of course, if they pre-order, they get this amazing bonus content, which takes you back to the Nostromo, so the spaceship of the first film,
right?
Where we have managed to bring back the original cast to reprise their roles, some of them for the very first time, including Sigourney Weaver, who's never reprised her role in video games before.
Wow.
As Ellen Ripley.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that's
amazing.
Amazing.
Right
And that's a dream come true for us. And so, yeah, you get to play as one of the characters on the Nostromo trying to survive against the alien. And so, yeah, we've reunited the cast, and it's an absolutely phenomenal experience.
Wow. Well, I mean, I could sit here and watch this forever, but unfortunately, we have people that are always whispering in my ears, telling me about the schedule. So, I mean, first off, I want to say thank you so much for coming by and spending some time with us here, sitting down. I can imagine that you're very busy. What's next for you on your schedule in the run-up to that October 7th date?